Hey guys, how you guys doing?
Hey everybody. Boom, here we are.
We're laughing because we had the camera set up and it starts counting down. It's like, oh, I guess we're going to go live here.
We were actually just saying, I wish there was something we could do to voice activate it to just get it to go. And it went.
Because as a number of times I reach over the table to push it and it like double pushes and it pushes on the field as I'm pushing the button and it starts to turn. And
I wish I knew how we did that, because if you think your phones don't listen in on you, there's the proof.
Yeah, there it is. So we wanted to talk about the post meeting real quick. We won't drag this out. I did reach out to Zim Pageant, the mayor, and we were able to find out what actually happened in the meeting. So took some notes and we just wanted to cover that so we could close the loop on the meeting.
Yeah, since we did the pre-meeting agenda, and then it turned out that nobody went and recorded the meeting, which in a huge aspect is good.
It's good.
So that means that the drama is dying out or has died out.
Guess how many people I was told were at the meeting? By 2 people. I talked to Rex also.
So One person was there. Just one?
Just one resident.
Okay.
One who cares about the town.
So, and I have to say too that before all the cameras started being there and all the recordings, and especially when I first moved to the town, nobody really came to those meetings. You only had a couple of few that ever attended. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't consistent either. Some would come, it was like a switch off usually. And then once those meetings started getting recorded, more and more people came to the meetings. So everybody said that the town shied away because of the cameras. That's not true.
That's not true. They never did come to the meetings.
So it was very infrequent at best when people would come. And again, the people, if they were not on the board, you did not see them in the audience.
Right.
They do not attend. As you see now, that's the way that's always been.
Yep.
So the cameras are not what disrupted that town at all.
And the only reason that Stewart was at that one meeting was because he thought Russell was going to be able to put him on the board. Just put him on the board.
Right.
So that's the only reason he was there. He hasn't showed up since.
So, and if people are paying attention, you can really see the different things and know that this is not being made up. This is the way it actually occurs. And again, the first person to start filming any of those meetings was John Cook, because he had a Facebook group for the Otter Creek politics.
Yeah, he did the first recording.
So he was the one who brought the filming into the town. I know there's some films of meetings from way back in the day that were very infrequent, just 1 or 2, I guess. But
do you remember why he started filming?
Because of Russell.
Right. I was going to say that, but I wanted you to say it.
Yeah, because they said what he was doing was corrupt.
Yeah, and it was.
It wasn't correct, and they wanted to start filming it all. So they are the ones who actually brought all the cameras to town. Mm-hmm. Contrary to what's being passed around out there. So I just wanted to shed a little bit of light on that issue that, so now it's like it's been a few years that these meetings have been filmed on a regular basis. So with nobody filming it and only one person in the audience, it was probably like, wow, what's really going on here? Are we back to where we used to be?
Maybe, but it's early yet. Let's wait.
Yeah, so it might have been just a fluke that some people missed the meetings, but I think it's great that there's not a bunch of drama at their meetings, and I still think the town needs to have a YouTube channel where they stream the meetings. Yeah. So I do hope that they do that going forward, because then people can watch those live streams without any chaos and bias and editing and drama.
And I think the real reason that hasn't happened already is really because there's no one to facilitate that. Zim's not real tech savvy on that stuff, and Belinda isn't either, and that's no fault against them, because I'm not super tech savvy. I'm not to your level. you're more tech savvy than I am.
And I'm still not perfect. Let's face it,
always new stuff.
the younger people are more
They pick
quick
it
with
up
the
quicker,
technology
yeah.
because they grew up in it. When
That's
they were
right.
born, it was already in play. When we
Right.
were born, it was not.
It wasn't.
So it's stuff we've had to learn throughout the years. And also, as you get older, you don't pick up on things as quickly either.
And you're reluctant to learn new things because change.
Yeah.
Older people don't like change, and we understand that.
Right. So there's many variables, not to mention Belinda has a lot of things
A lot
on
of
her
things,
plate.
yeah.
So
Putting a
just
camera is-
throwing in that
Yeah.
is just asking for yet another task.
So it's lower down the priority list getting a camera. But I do think they should do it, absolutely. They just have to get someone to maybe push it a little.
Right. If they could talk to a couple of
Maybe
people.
Deanna or Travis maybe can get that set up. And once it's set up, it's easy. It's once you get monetized, now they don't ever have
Well,
to
they
get
don't have to be
right,
monetized.
They don't. But I'm saying monetization is where most of the work comes in setting it up. But if you never get monetized, it's very easy to set up. And you can turn comments off. And all you would ever have to do is go into the computer when the meeting starts and hit, go live. And then when you're done with the meeting, go in there and hit stop.
Right.
It's
There's
really
no
that easy.
editing
There's no
involved.
editing
There's
involved,
no
nothing.
comments to deal with.
Right.
It's pretty
On and off.
simple once it's set up. So hopefully somebody can help get that set up because I do think that'll be great for them going forward and
Mm-hmm.
will reduce all that extra drama and chaos.
And if people wanted to screen record it, I guess they'd be free to do that. But I mean, really, why? But so are you ready to go over some of the notes I have? There's not a lot, so
Yeah, so I'm sure, and the meeting still did last a little over an hour,
it was an hour and 10 minutes.
and that's mostly because of Powell and Jones.
Powell and Jones gave their presentation. Now, what they are is a third-party accountant editor, so they're giving a summary of the all the accounts that the town has and that the money's in the right place, and so that's what they do. They do an audit. It's a financial audit, outside third party. So that's something you do when you have, it's full disclosure, and that's what they did. So everything was good on that. I didn't get details. The details would probably bore you to death anyway. But there were no discrepancies found, and everything was good, and everything moving forward, and everything was on time.
Yeah.
And there were no fees or penalties imposed. Like in the past years, there were fees and penalties imposed
Yeah,
that you
because
never
if you
heard about.
did not do it, you could lose some revenues from
Yeah.
the states.
Yes, and they did.
From the
didn't they?
state.
I believe
Yes,
they did.
when I came in, there was actually a penalty imposed from the prior year, them
Mm-hmm.
not doing what they needed to do. So we were losing some of our revenue. So that's something that Belinda and I jumped on right away to get corrected, and we did. But going forward, Belinda has brought it up to where it needs to be. And it provides great transparency when you have the third party.
And it was discovered during probably a couple of years back now. It was discovered that there was $7,500 in the wrong account. It was misappropriated. They had used the wrong account and didn't put it back. So
It was also money that was used that was not voted on being used.
correct. So that was
So
Russell.
there was a couple of problems with that at all. It was money that was taken out that should have been addressed at a meeting, that there should have been a vote. Do we want to use this money for this? Because the worst part about that money was it was not even applied towards the work. It was $7,500 just to see if something could be done, but it wasn't $7,500 that would be applied to the work going forward.
Wasn't that a broadband study or something of that sort?
Something of that
I
sort,
can't remember that.
but it was not applied to the going forward.
Right.
So sometimes when you maybe go get your vehicle looked at, they'll do a free diagnostic and apply stuff towards the repair or those type of things, but it wasn't something that got applied towards the work going forward. It was just we're
gift.
going to do a study
gift.
and tell you yay or nay, and this money is just like walking over to the trash can and doing this with the money. So $7,500 is a large amount of money. I don't even care if you're in a town that it has millions of dollars in the budget. $7,500 is nothing
piece.
Small. It's not like $50.
No, that's like it's more than a tenth of their budget.
So that was pretty disturbing to find out that occurred under the radar, wastefully. No vote was taken.
So let's add this up. We have $7,500 that Russell Meek squandered as mayor. There's the plumbing inadequacies he did at the water station that caused those pumps to premature. I believe that was a $10,000 repair cost. Let's see, what else has he done? Oh, the liability, the lawsuit, that cost him another $5,000. And that's just one term. Think of all the years that he's been mayor and how much money he's wasted under the table.
That's while cameras were rolling.
Yeah,
what happened when the cameras weren't rolling?
Right, he did whatever.
And this is exactly why you need the accountability of the cameras and the filming wherever you go, especially these days. You have to document things, and it helps both parties. So if I go anywhere in a situation, I don't want this other party to say that they saw certain things happening that didn't really happen. So I'm covering the whole situation on both ends, because I could walk in there without a camera and that person could say, I did all kinds of things that never happened. So it protects me. It protects them. It protects everybody involved in the situation.
Involved, yeah.
And if you're not doing anything wrong, what's the problem?
What do you care? Yeah.
That's what I always say.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the problem would be if there's nothing wrong going on.
And that's why the police should have body cameras, and hopefully they'll upgrade to that because it protects both parties.
Correct.
So, and if you're doing the right things, and you ain't got to worry about is it on, is it off.
Then it doesn't really matter.
It doesn't matter. Yeah. So Powell and Jones, the briefing there went well. Nothing to report there. There was one person at the meeting that wasn't part of the town. The other person was Richard. Richard was there. So she was trying to say there were two people, and Zim said, yeah, only two people. Richard and Ellie were there. So that's good. Ellie cares about the town.
Right.
Where are the rest of them at? So,
well,
it speaks for itself. I don't need to speak to it.
But all I can say is at least there was no drama.
Okay, so people are going to want to know about the water filters. There's a lot going on with the water filters, and I'll explain it the best I can. He explained it to me, but I just jotted down a few notes, so I'll summarize, and I hope I get this right. This week, you have two officials that are coming to take water samples, and they have to get a certain number of water samples with the water on through the filters. There's a DEP permit in play, and a DEP representative, I believe, comes to the site and initiates the permit. Now, it's a process. The process is they have to gather water samples. Once they get those water samples, then they have to turn the system back off. DEP has to close it out. And then based on the water samples, the result of the samples is whether it gets turned back on permanently or they have to fix any shortcomings, I would suspect. Now, I'm adding that because I would suspect they would just have to fix something to get the water back in compliance and then turn it back on. But I'm not suspecting there'll be any problem. The filters are designed to do what they're designed to do, and if they're back in play, the results should be great. And
you have to go through quite a process approving those filters that were used. I mean, this whole process started while I was still in the office.
Yeah, so that's the damage it cost. Not only was the money that was involved to repair the pumps, but Otter Creek had to deal with absolutely zero filtration of water right out of the ground, which it has contaminants of tannings, which is just biodegradable decomposition of sticks and leaves and stuff. So that stuff's not pleasant to drink. So
unless you want to be one with the earth.
Yeah, there you go. So yeah, there you have it. So this week, that's what's going on. He thinks, now he doesn't know that Zim did not know the timeline of how long it takes, how long would the system be off before it comes back on. He didn't know. He thinks it'd just be maybe days, maybe hours.
Yeah, they don't really give you those type of details. They don't tell you any of that
stuff, so it just depends. So he's got like 3 people coming this week, and it should all happen this week. And hopefully by the end of the week,
That would be great.
At the very latest, hopefully next week, they have full up and running, full time with DEP permits in place, the right plumbing in place, and good potable drinking water.
That would be great.
So we're on the
because
right
as
track.
I always say, everybody on the planet deserves to have good, clean water.
And this is something that, as far as I recollect, hasn't been done ever, as far as DEP coming in and providing a permit. I don't know that that's been done. Certainly not in the recent years.
That I can't speak to.
Yeah, we can't speak to. We go back 6 years, and then you hear about things in the last couple years, but it's hard to go back.
But it's more when they started the whole pilot program is when everything started coming more into play.
I gotcha. So
with all that.
That's in the last couple years, really. So there's the word on the filters. Should be next week. So certainly by the next meeting, we should hear more about that. There has been a new building official named for permitting. He did give me the name. I didn't write that down. I didn't think it was important. So there is a gentleman who will be doing he will act as the building official. Now, I suspect, this is me talking, that the town won't be footing that bill and putting this person on a regular payroll. I think what's going to happen is whoever needs permitting can use him, and you would pay a la carte, like you would pay as you go. The fees and applications and whatever he charges.
I would hope that would be the case because,
that's the only way they can afford to do
for
it.
a town that small, it's the only thing that really, truly makes sense. And still, I don't know, then that's just the building official, so that doesn't really mean anything for the code enforcement element. So, and again, all these things are going to take a lot of time for this little town to put into play. And again, with the code enforcement, you'd have to find another kind of a la carte, because with so few houses, and there are a lot of code infractions that are in play at the moment. But let's say you had all these codes wrote up to date, they fix all the ordinances, and you have 20 houses that are not compliant with the way things should be. Once that code enforcer brings all that up to par, how much work are they really going to have to do? So having them on a full-time basis would be costly as well.
Yeah, it would bankrupt the town.
So I'm hoping that at some point they could find a code enforcement case-by-case type of thing, or that wants to work just not full-time but low hours. But that stuff is probably so far in the future, it could probably take years to get something on the end. I'm not sure. I'm just speaking realistically, because things are so out of date there. It could take quite a while to get that into play. And it's probably not one of the higher priority things at the moment. Safety with dogs and those type of things probably would weigh over than somebody having a trashy yard. Or living in RVs all over their property, which is another huge thing in Otter Creek. You have several properties that have that going on.
And their argument is, I should be free to live how I want to live. Well, in the county you could, so why did you move into a town?
In the county you can't do that either.
Well, I mean, you could hide it better. If you had 10 acres of property and you lived in the back and you wanted to junk up your lot, who's ever going to see it? That's what happens. I mean, that really is what happens.
Well, sure, you can drive all over the county, probably in any state you're in, and see that. And, most of the time, the people look the other way because there's more important things to focus on.
Right.
And in a lot of cases, if that property is not affecting anybody, most people are just going to turn a blind eye and be like, oh, these people want to live that way, then that's on them. But some of the times, some of the yards, the different things could be leaching into the groundwater and different things like that. So there's a lot of different things to look at.
Yeah, there's reasons for it.
I know they say, and too, when I had my mail route, there was a neighborhood that was on my mail route that there was a lot of meth houses, where they were cooking the meth, and sometimes they would catch on fire. And you would see all the police out there in these biohazard suits.
Yeah.
And that's pretty scary when you're witnessing that, and you'd see all these people sitting out on the side the next day. I'd be delivering the mail and you see this trailer that's completely burned up, everybody walking around in these biohazard suits, and you're thinking, wow, that's scary, because all of what's been going on in this property is leaching into the ground. It's affecting the air. All these people are protected coming in their suits, but what about all the people that live right around them?
Right.
So,
not to mention the explosion factor.
Right. So those are serious things to worry about if you're neighboring those properties.
And we have heard explosions in Otter Creek, and that's probably what they were.
So people have right to be concerned with what's going on around them, for sure.
So, lastly, I failed to ask Zim about the festival, if anything was mentioned about that, but he did talk about a dog ordinance was passed. So they do have a guy, and I think it's going to be, the way he described it, it was kind of like a la carte. So again, not someone on full payroll, but someone you could use. And they're not going to go around policing dogs. That's not what their intent is.
Yeah, they're not going to enforce like a leash law or things like that, or just pick up random dogs.
But they have someone now that, if called, he will get the dog and take it. He will remove the dog, and he'll probably take it to the dog pound, and they'll have to go through the courts to get it
Now,
back.
it has to be an aggressive dog.
It has to be aggressive. It has to be threatening you or attacking you in some way.
Yeah, so it might have gotten into a fight with another animal and unalived another animal, or it could have just bit somebody. But those are the animals, first off, that they are targeting, the aggressive animals.
Correct. So it doesn't really address the stray dogs wandering around the town problem, but it's a step in the right direction.
It's a step in the right direction, but I would think going forward that as time goes by, that might be addressed if they feel that it's a huge problem.
Yeah.
I personally think that if you're just letting your dog wander the streets, you're not that great.
Not very responsible.
Not a very responsible pet owner. Like, not only do you not care about anybody else's safety, but do you care about your
dog.
pet? Your pet could get run over. That's horrible.
It's a good chance of that there, too.
Yeah, because people drive around pretty fast, especially on 24.
Yeah, State Highway 24 runs right through the middle of town. And the speed limits go from 45 to 35 as you get closer to 19. But people don't do those speed limits. They're coming from Cedar Key, and it's a long stretch where it's 60, I think it's 60 miles an hour, maybe 65. But they're going 70 miles an hour all the way to the light. So they're definitely going 30 and 40 miles over the speed limit. And
even the ones coming from the other direction are going pretty quick.
They're in a hurry to get to Cedar Key or to get back from Cedar Key. So they don't care about those speed limit signs in Otter Creek saying slow down.
I mean, there wasn't even an instance of a woman who was residing in Shady Oaks Campground at the time we were there, and she was riding her bicycle to work. She worked at Herschel's, and it was early morning, and she was pedaling her bike down 24 to head to Herschel's, and she was struck by a vehicle.
She was killed.
And she passed away.
She was on the shoulder of the
believe.
road and got hit and killed.
So it's a very dangerous area. You don't want to be walking on the sides of these different roads or riding your bike. It's dangerous. People are in a hurry and they're not paying attention. And there's really no shoulder to the roads there. And they do kind of go in, and if it's been raining a lot, there's a lot of factors where it's very unsafe.
Now that intersection at 19 and 24 has been deemed to be dangerous, but it's all driver error. It's people not wanting to head check both directions. They just do a California stop, they pull out, bam, T-bone.
Well, I think too, one of the bigger problems at that intersection is the big trucks that are parked at Herschel's.
They block your view.
They block the view, so they're parked this way, and then the cars going this way can't really see. I mean, you have to take your time, and people don't take their time.
They don't.
So it would be great if those trucks didn't park there, But outside of that, you need to creep forward, slow down, look both ways, look again, because cars are going really fast down the roadway. If you put your nose out there, you could be in a very bad wreck.
And like with your hands you were describing, so that again, if where the trucks are parked in front of Herschel's, and then this is where you're coming up to the light. Now when they get hit, they're creeping out, they get hit, and where do they end up? Over here at the post office. Several times that post office has received crashes into those concrete barriers. One
Those
occasion,
concrete barriers,
the canopy even partially collapsed.
The concrete barriers weren't there at that time.
Ah.
When I worked there, somebody, there was actually 2 accidents. The first one happened when somebody was pulling a boat through there.
Oh yeah, he hit the canopy.
And he hit the canopy with his boat because the boat was high. So that was the first incident. And then there was another thing where they suspected somebody was drinking and they almost plowed into the post office.
Wow.
And I don't know, I think the concrete poles were put in after the boat incident. So they might have been in before that one person almost crashed into it.
I think there was 1 or 2 there already, and then they added some more.
But I know they put those concrete poles in specifically when they hit that boat,
Yeah.
the overhang with the boat.
Yeah.
So, it is a lot of driver error. And yes, these things could be avoided if people just slowed down and took an extra couple of seconds to check around them for the most part.
There was an older lady too. Here's one too. She's parked in front of the Herschel's Quick Stop, and she wanted to go in the opposite direction. So she's pulling into a 4-way intersection and doing a U-turn and going back toward, this would be Chiefland that way. So she pulls off, obviously didn't check traffic, came across the 2 lanes of traffic, and she got plowed. That's driver error.
So it takes a few extra seconds and
You have to actually
Swivel.
turn your
Swivel.
head. Your life might depend on it.
yeah.
It's important.
So yeah, I wouldn't let my animals just run around because
I think John had a dog that died out on the road that got hit, and several dogs have gotten hit over the years.
he did, because I remember she was yelling about
Oh yeah, she was.
all of
When
that.
is she not yelling? Right.
So
We'll wrap this up. That was pretty much the bones of the meeting. That's what happened. There was no bashing. TC wasn't there. It was only one resident at the meeting there, and then Richard was there, and then the people to speak for Powell and Jones, either there's 1 or 2 people, I don't know. They were there to speak, and that was it.
So I'm sure that's good for everybody. They can have less anxiety and stress because it's been rough there lately for a lot of the people with all the different stress and anxiety that's caused by all the headbutting. And
Zim described he was very pleased with the results overall, and he said he got a lot done.
yeah,
That was his
it was a
summary.
very productive meeting. They got a lot done, and I'm super glad to keep hearing that things are going in the right direction. And as the time progresses, things get better and better. And that's what I pray for. And I'm sure a lot of you out there have prayed for the same thing. And it's just, again, proof that God is working in the background. The prayers are being heard, and God always, he will come through, and he has the last say so on everything. So no matter what bad things are going on anywhere, stay the course, be strong, keep your faith, and just keep believing, because God will win every time. So your
Every single
prayers
time.
are being heard. Don't stop praying. Keep praying for Otter Creek. Keep praying that good things continue to happen.
Yeah.
And that, sometimes you look at different situations and you wonder why things are happening the way they are. God has a plan. God has his timing and his plan.
And all the bad things that are going on in the world right now, they're supposed to happen.
So it's God's plan, and it'll work out as he sees fit. So continue to allow God to use you to do good things, and just stay the course. The devil is hard at work.
He's busy.
Do not let him win.
Don't give up on it. I know
Focus.
it's easy to give up on it.
Yep. Focus on God and good things, and everything will turn out good.
Yeah. So we'll wrap this up. We wanted to keep this short. I know we got a little winded there, but hey.
Thanks for hanging out and listening to us.
It's one of our adventures, so here you go. So whether we cover these in the future, we'll just kind of play it by ear and see what happens. We'll first look at the agenda and see if there's anything there, and we'll just go from there. Maybe we'll just do little short ones, and
yeah, we'll see. We'll play it by ear.
we'll play it by ear.
You'll be the first to know.
You'll be the first to know.
But we definitely appreciate you guys taking time out of your day to hang out with us. We love you all, and we appreciate all your support and the prayers and love. Keep it moving forward.
And if the weather is great where you are, get out there and have some fun.
That's right. Have your own adventures.
Hey,
and
adventure.
keep us posted on what's going on in your lives, in your fun adventures. Maybe you have something you'd like to tell us about. You can drop it in the comments. Maybe we need to go visit some places and you have some great ideas. We always appreciate your ideas.
Yeah, we've gotten a lot of those through the emails and through the comments. And believe me, they're on our list. We have a lot of things going on.
It's a big list.
We're trying to get to them, and we will get to them. Just be patient with us. And we appreciate you guys joining us, and we love you guys supporting us. We appreciate it.
Love you all. Take care of each other and be good to each other.
So we'll see you on the next one. Bye,
Peace
guys.
out.